This is a TPPN production brought to you by Tim Chatton. Welcome to the Xenomorphic Possibilities Podcast, episode number 2, Ripley. Welcome to the second episode, and many of you probably thought there'd only be one episode and I given up and pod fade and just given up on the show, but that is not the case. I am back for another show and I'll be back for many more. I hope to make this a weekly installment or at least a monthly installment. I will be doing many more shows. I got basically distracted after episode 1. I went to Macworld up in San Francisco and basically got really busy with stuff. And as a result, this podcast got neglected. Well, I am back. I'm starting up a bunch of other shows. Another one is on the Planet of the Apes franchise called The Forbidden Zone. So that's another show I just started up. But I will be doing this show once again. I've got this wonderful setup to do mobile podcasting where I just record and do that away from the computer and just record shows. So the Xenomorphic Possibilities Podcast is all back. It's back and it's in full swing now. And today's episode is going to be all about just the character of Ripley. So for those new to this show, this is a podcast all about the Alien franchise. Anything to do with that. And as we get into the new films coming out by Ridley Scott later next year, we will be talking about those as well, of course. So Xenomorphic Possibilities. A xenomorph is, of course, an alien. So that is what this podcast is all about. Today's show is about Ripley. Basically, I wanted to do a character study on all the major characters of this franchise. So I wanted to start off with Ripley. I wanted to go through the 4 films, see how Ripley evolves, see what she goes through as a character, and just kind of go through that storyline, I guess, of Ripley. What does she do? How is she treated? How does she react to different things? So that is what today's episode will be about. So let's start off this show with just going through the first film here of Alien by Ridley Scott. So we agree with Ripley in this first film of Alien. She is a worker of this company bringing back a bunch of, load, as they say it in the film, to Earth, the payoff. So she's just a worker. She is not really respected that much because she is a woman. She is kind of discounted. She is, as you see, some of the characters, I forget their names, with the larger, the African-American actor and the guy with the cat. I have to watch these films again. It's been a little while, sadly. But those two characters especially, nag on her a little bit. But she just overall is nagged on a bit, even by the captain of the ship, Dallas. He's nagged on too by, you should not have let this person in. And Ripley's just following the rules of procedure, and she's just kind of attacked from every angle. So it seems, even by the android on the ship, pretty much every character kind of gets on her case a little bit. So she is quite a strong female lead in this first film. She's very strong, very confident, and nervous at times, but, she makes it through, and she is the only one, that makes it to the end of this first film. So she goes through quite a bit in this first film. So she wakes up in this new world. She understands that, letting this alien creature into the ship is not a good idea. And then this creature bursts out of the chest, and she is one of the few that is strong enough to survive to the end of this. And in the process, she really gets some emotional scarring in this film. She just has such a terror, nightmares because of this, what is a very scary creature. So Ripley makes it through to the end, but not without some emotional scarring. I mean, imagine yourself in Ripley's role, where you feel safe at the end of this film. You get down to your pajamas, your underwear. You feel comfortable. You feel that you are isolated. You're in a ship by yourself. You're going home. And then out of nowhere, that thing which you thought you just blew up is still there with you in your most exposed and vulnerable position ever. And imagine what the terror that must instill after something like that this creature may never die, that it will continue to hunt you down. Imagine the horror that must play on your psyche. So that is where we leave Ripley